Hello, everyone. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate Rural Talk Radio Network, a subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC. Our mantra is to educate, enlighten, and entertain. The views of the guest may not represent those of the host or the station. Folks, I have with me today a phenomenal, extra special guest to me. I am so thrilled. Tammy J. Cohen is a very busy woman, and I'm glad she's going to spend time with me today. And let me tell you about Tammy J. Cohen. Tammy was a guest on back last December when she was just starting to promote her wonderful book, Text Messages to My Sons, Connections Deeply in a World of Devices. Or is it connecting? I can't read my own handwriting, Tammy. Is it connecting?
Yes,
I can't read my own handwriting. Connecting. Sorry, folks, connecting. My G looked like an S. Connecting deeply in a world of devices. Tammy has such a passion to have people connect and bring light and love into the world. And if you don't already subscribe to my show, this is why you need to subscribe, because Tammy was back on in December of last year. Tammy is a phenomenal keynote speaker. She is a podcast host as well as a podcast guest, but she is host on Beyond the Table podcast. She is founder of Women Beyond the Table. Her and her husband have a restaurant in Upper East Side, which is called 18. And folks, if you live in the area, Manhattan, New Jersey area, go online and check it out because it looks wonderful, and there's great reviews about 18 restaurant. Tammy is a speaker on the various topics from branding to leadership. She is just a phenomenal person. She won awards. Her book won awards since I last spoke to her, which she's going to talk about. A BookFest award winner. I'll do the initials, ACIPA EVVY award winner, and Next Generation Indie Book Awards finalist. Her book cover was featured down in Times Square, I believe. And I just want to welcome Tammy J. Cohen back to Chatting with Betsy. Welcome, Tammy.
Hey, Betsy. It's so great to be back. I always enjoy chatting with you. And being in touch. You have great energy, and, you're just a great conversationalist, and you bring out the best in people. So I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much. Sorry about goofing on your book title. I can't read my own handwriting.
Believe me, it happens. I was just saying to my husband, because he's like, oh, yeah, we have to get this menu out. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, what? I can't read I can't read the writing at all. Like, I don't know what do you want, And it happens. Listen, life is full of interesting things. And I always say, you know what? Don't Sweat Small Stuff. That's a book also by Mitch Albom, because it's ridiculous. Who cares?
That's true. That's true. Because I know you have a wonderful podcast, and I was like, when I started doing this, I was like, oh, so nervous. My husband would make a mistake, and now I make a mistake. I'm like, okay, and go on. I know it's not the end of the world.
Yes. Betsy, I want to tell you something. I've been in this amazing positive intelligence group, my positive intelligence program. My co-chair, Meg King, is getting certified in positive intelligence. It's something that Shirzad Shamin created. And one of the things that I'm in it already weeks. One of the things that you learn how to do is through self-command is to shift from having your saboteur tell you, like, oh, you screwed up, oh, you made a mistake, oh, and just to, be okay and move into the stage, which is like, okay, so that didn't go so well, so what's the next thing I can do to make it better? Or that was a problem, how do I solve it? Instead of, coming down on yourself or feeling like, oh, what was this about? Why did I do this? I'm so this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a completely different way of thinking. And it helps your brain to keep focused and move forward, like not get hung up on those kind of things, but actually think clearly as to how can I make this better? How is this a gift for me? How can I find the solution? What can I learn from this? It's a different way of thinking, and it's because we're all going to have things that don't work out or make mistakes, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing. So, that's been a really positive thing for me. That's over the last God knows how long. Yeah.
That's so true, and I had to tell the audience because I forgot to say this. Tammy's book makes an excellent gift. Here it is, October. Next week is the middle of October already. This is a great book to give as a gift to someone you know. Doesn't matter if it's male or female, transgender, what faith, whatever. This is a book for everyone to really enjoy. And I know that they would be thrilled to have this book as a gift. And Tammy, you are going to expand your book, an expanded edition in mid-2025 That is awesome.
Yes,
and congratulations and mazel tov on all your awards and achievements. And, folks, I'm going to tell the world this, Tammy. I know Tammy is going to be an international bestseller. I just feel it. It might take time, but it's going to happen. I truly believe it. You're welcome.
Your mouth to God. Seriously, that's amazing. And you know what? It's even for me. It's more like, okay, I feel like I have a mission, and my mission is really to show not just parents, like anybody, that you can very easily, without great cost. You don't have to be in therapy for your whole life to figure this out. You don't have to have a coach. You don't have to take courses. You have a phone, okay? You can actually use the same technology that's kind of tearing our society apart for good. And that means you can easily text somebody you love. You can communicate with them inspiration, your love for them, gratitude, appreciation. You could share wisdom. It takes you a couple of minutes a day. But when you send that text, especially with your kids, you do it with your kids, you really get them to start, seeing you in a different light. But also, you really get to strengthen and enrich your relationship because they are listening. They're not going to sit down and have a conversation with you in person. Nobody's doing that. I mean, you see everybody with the phone in their hand, it's in their back pocket, or it's in their pocketbook. They're sitting in restaurants. I see it all the time. They're like looking at their phones and not talking. Nobody's talking, but they are looking at their phone. And that message comes in, and the first thing anybody's going to do is look at their WhatsApp or their text. They're going to look at it, and they're going to see a beautiful, heartfelt message from somebody that they actually care about hearing from. I don't care how old you are. You want to know that you are loved. You want to know that your parent loved you. You want to know that your parent thought highly of you. I know people who are searching for this their whole life to hear I love you from their parent, or to hear that their parent didn't consider them a loser, and I've gotten a lot of messages about this, and it breaks my heart, but it's so simple that people overlook it as a really powerful tool and ways of means to really connecting and changing and to releasing incredible energy. When I send that message every day, and even if I'm a little late during the day in sending it, I feel really good. Like I feel uplifted that I sent this love out. And I know when my kids are reading it, my sons look at it and they read it, they're releasing an energy like, wow, somebody cares about me and I love getting this and this is great. No expectations. I don't expect a response from them ever. If they want to respond, great. But it's not about that. It's about me sending the love to them. It's just about me and trying to inspire them. It's about me sharing about myself and taking accountability for things that I've done. It's about sharing wisdom and things that I've learned. I'm not lecturing them just like, wow, I just learned this. What do you think? And They see me now as a human being, and that's really a positive thing. We're not best friends. It's not that. It's just that they see me as a human being. And, Betsy, I'll tell you, this really started clarifying for me. It became crystal clear after October 7th that because the book, this book, Text Messages, was released October 3rd. October 4th, actually. It was up on Amazon. And October 7th happened, and I saw how insanity, just hate, like more than usual, like just and misinformation, and this is all going on. And how are people supposed to respond to that? They're inundated with it. So that's why now it's even more important than ever. I realize is to get on top of this and start messaging love. Love is gratitude, the highest vibrating frequency energies on the planet. Hate and violence are the lowest. So we can do what we can to cancel it out and to build a bridge.
True.
So our kids are like, this is bullshit. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse. This is not for me. This what I'm seeing is not what I want to look at anymore. I don't want to look at this. I don't. This doesn't make me feel right, And we want to get our kids back because they're kind of getting lost in this over-engagement in social media, algorithm, like this tech thing, and we have to manage the tech differently. That's how I look at it.
Yes. Tiana, I just saw in the paper, and I just heard today on the news that kids are more depressed, have more anxiety today because they are attached to their phone, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever their social media platform that they look at, constantly looking at it. And it's not always positive. And a lot of it is negative, and then they compare themselves, and they want to be liked, they want to be accepted, and there's just that pressure on them. Excuse me. I also have to share a little story. Even messaging your friends. Folks, you don't even have no idea how important that is. I don't care what age of your friend. Reach out. If you haven't seen them on social media, if you haven't heard from them, reach out to them. Just a quick story of someone I know who I've always seen on social media. I didn't see her on social media. I'm thinking, I got to ask so-and-so how she's doing. I haven't seen her. I messaged my friend, and my friend told me, she said, Betsy, thank you so much for messaging me because I was wondering yesterday if anyone cared about me or liked me.
Wow.
Do you see, folks, how, when your instinct, and my instinct told me to contact this person, that she was having a very rough time, that you should really reach out. If you get that instinct, I haven't seen this person, I haven't heard from this person, send a message, folks. It doesn't take long. And I agree with Tammy. There's too much negative negativity going on in the world. And I never thought, Tammy, in my lifetime that I would see such vile hatred. I never thought so. I'm glad my parents aren't alive to see this.
I know. I agree. It's very disheartening. It's so disturbing and disheartening. It's like it's mind crushing,
It is. It's mind-boggling. And in the first interview, folks, Tammy and I discussed her book and why she wrote it. I want to know, what's your expanded version, your expanded edition? How is that going to be different from what the original book is, Tammy?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm really glad you asked it because it's not a completely different book and, completely different subject matter. It's building on this. Now, the first edition has the messages of 2021 and 2022. So we're adding in all the messages in 2023 and 2024 to date because I never stopped messaging my kids. I also went in and created introductions to each chapter, which are not in the original book either. So you have way more messages, chapter introductions. The chapter titles have been updated. the introduction is going to be new and the covers are going to be completely changed, and why. So over this past year, I've learned a lot about the process. I've learned a lot about the book, and I always want it to be the best it can be because it's my legacy. It's something important. This is important to me that people do it. I didn't have, as a self-published person, that distribution base. I didn't have necessarily the capacity. I didn't have sales teams and to get it out into that level, to get it into the libraries as easily, to get it into bookstores, to get it translated, to get it in, distributed internationally. Amazon is great. It's a fantastic marketplace, and I, of course, love Amazon. But there are other marketplaces, there are other platforms that are actually the schools and the libraries and the bookstores order from. They don't order from Amazon. And I realized as I was talking to people and getting a lot of feedback, because I think it's important to do that, and entering into competitions, attending conferences, I learned a lot about the reaction to the book. And while people love it, they were just like, wow, by looking at the cover, I didn't realize how emotional and how, and it didn't reflect, as cool as your cover is, and as great as it doesn't reflect the emotion and the personal nature of what you've written and the impact. It's not coming together like that. And I was like, you might have a good point. So that's why we're working on covers that actually reflect the emotion of the book, the love of the book, like the content. Because I know, especially when on social media, I've gotten so many great messages from people that are like, wow, I love my kids. I want to reach out to my kids. I don't know how to reach out. Like, what do you think I should do? What do you think this or that? And I'm realizing, and I was like, well, so they're looking at my social media, they're looking at my interviews, and I'm like, well, buy the book because there's 206 pages of messages. You can take any message and tweak it. You don't have to invent the wheel. It's there. But I'll promise you, once you start sending a message every day and you get in the habit, because it's every day, it's not a one and done. When you get into the habit of putting a message out there of love and inspiration, you take one from the book and you tweak it to make it more your own voice. You'll see over time it's going to become heart-centered. You're going to just start creating your own messages. So I realize that maybe people aren't understanding exactly the nature of the book by the covers themselves, even after hearing me speak about it. We're also changing the title up a bit. It's still going to be Text Message to My Sons, but the tagline is going to be completely different and more telling of what is inside those pages. Like, what is this book about? So instead of just connecting people in a world of devices, it's going to be more about, connecting, communicating. But I don't want to give it all away right now. But we are.
That's okay.
On a title change. So it's like we're doing. There's a lot of work going into it right now, and and it's just fascinating to see it with working with publishers who really know what they're doing and who really understands how things go, which is something that I needed the guidance for because I really do want to get to the next level. So I asked my future self, Betsy. I said, hey, do you want to do this? Because it's a lot of work, but also there's an expense because I'm not working with a traditional publisher. I'm working more in the hybrid space. So I have another expense, and the first book had a lot of expenses. Do you want to do this? And my future self told me, absolutely. You want to put out, this is your legacy, this is what you believe in, and you want to put out the best piece of work that you could put out, and this is it. This is your time. This is what you have to do. And I said, okay, I'm in. So I did it. I signed the contracts, and here I am, getting ready to put it out there. And we are looking to publish in April of 2025, and then, go from there and do the push. And then that's when we start pre-promotion, but, then I'll be like 100% ready to go to the next level with it. And I was so excited. We've been in touch, and I really wanted to share it with your listeners. I've been very fortunate in that I do get interviewed and stuff. So I've been speaking about the expanded edition a little bit, but not, I really wanted to share this with you too, because you've been so wonderful and supportive of what I'm trying to do with this, why this is important, and why I feel that people need to take the time and send a message of love every day. It's 10 minutes of your time. It's nothing. Really, nothing. You could change somebody's life.
Yes.
18 to 30-year-olds are statistically, and research shows this. This isn't coming out of just out of nowhere. You can look it up because so many people are online all day. But 18, 30-year-olds are struggling with disconnection, depression, addiction. And these are grown-ups. This isn't little like young kids. These are people who you think they should be okay. They're adults, right? People are having a very, very, very hard time. And there's more ways to connect than ever. But when you think about it, they're all the ways to connect than ever. It's not like how we grew up. We grew up, first of all, you didn't have a cell phone. So you had to go home. You had to go talk to your family. You had to eat.
Right.
You ate together. Even when you watched a TV show, everybody sat together, It was a very different time. And not that it was better or this is better or whatever. It's just very different. So we have to use tools at hand. And I feel like depression, I was reading, listening to a TED Talk from Johann Hari, and he was just saying, like, depression comes from lack of connection and lack of purpose. It's simple. Wow. It's not crazy to think like what all and how did society treat it? They give people a pill. But if you gave them, if you gave them the connection and you gave them a sense of purpose, that would take care of the root. I mean, they would do much better than being put on medication, and keep
Tammy,
up with dosages.
That is, you said such nuggets right there. That is so true. And I could tell you, as someone who is involved with caregivers, and after their loved one dies, they don't have a purpose, and they get depressed, because of loss of their loved one. And it's like, what do I do now? And I encourage people, find your purpose, find your passion. And that's why I'm so grateful for my show and grateful to Jeannie White for discovering me, because this became a passion while Matt was dying, and gave me a purpose afterwards, so that I do have a purpose. I know what my purpose is. And that is, you're right, that is so important. And in a society now where we could connect to anywhere in the world, we have all this technology, people, you're right, are more alone now than ever before.
Yeah.
So that's kind of strange.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's really something, and that's why I'm like, okay, look, during the pandemic, thank God for technology, because people were really isolated. And that's how, people started using technology more and more. And now you have AI, and there's a lot of things going on. But I'm like, there's a lot of issues with it. And there's a lot of not great stuff that's going on with it. But it's definitely something that all of us can do easily. And there's no excuse not to do it, not to send out this beautiful energy and let somebody know you love them. I mean, my sons wrote the foreword to the book, because they said, like, getting a message like this every day, just knowing somebody cares about you, loves you enough to take the time, it's not, they don't take it for granted. It's not a given that they're going to get a beautiful message like this all the time. I mean, maybe now after doing it for several years, yes, it's become somewhat taken for granted. But what I'm saying is, they felt so strongly about the positivity of this that they wrote the foreword. I didn't beg them to. I didn't force them. I said, I'm putting this in a book. I said, would you like to be involved? They wrote the foreword. And you know what? They said that getting these messages makes them feel like bulletproof. It means a lot to them, and they're proud of me, and they're supportive. And I think when kids turn around, it doesn't matter what age, they're proud of their parents, and they believe in what they're doing, and they see that there's accountability, and they see their parent producing, it has a very, very big effect on them. you can't, like, I remember growing up and, your parents were like, kind of do as I say, don't question me, you have to respect me, you have to do this, you have to do that, like da-da-da-da-da. And that doesn't really work today. It worked with us, and it had its own set of issues. It doesn't work. So I feel that if I want my kids to be accountable, I have to be accountable. If I want to get respect for them, I have to give respect. You have to model it on some level. And you could do it in a way of setting like love messages, and they read them. And believe me, my kids are reading the messages. And like I said, it's just they started to see me as a human being, not just as their mom. And believe me, it's not like we're having this whole love fest where they're like, "Mommy, you're the best. I love you." That's not them. They don't talk like that. But they really deeply love these messages. And I know the day that I depart to the next plane of existence, they're not going to remember what I bought them in high school or college or what I gave them, or they're gonna miss the messages. They're gonna go on their phone. They're gonna look at messages, just like we did. When we had voicemail. I remember when my mom passed. I listened to a message so I could hear it. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what matters. Those memories, pictures, things matter. Like those things, and people have to realize that. Like, they're leaving something really precious of themselves. Do you remember as a kid? I remember as a kid, when kids would get those, like, love messages from their little notes from their mom in their lunchbox. And I was always jealous of those kids because I didn't get any of those. My mother didn't
either.
And the kids would get them, and I was like, wow, they're so lucky. And those kids were happy when they opened up that little note. It made them happy. It was so simple. So this, to me, is the message in the lunchbox, except it's on the phone. It's really the same concept,
That's good. I used to leave messages in Matt's lunch because I made my husband's lunch when he worked, and I would do messages. I think I did it with Joshua's lunch too, but that's weird. I don't remember if I did it for Josh, but no, I definitely did it for Matt. But Josh and I, Josh has this routine. He loves to send me goofy text messages. So we send each other.
That's your thing. That's your thing.
Yeah, goofy text messages. Even when we're driving the car, he that's his routine that he has to do. And now at night, he tells me, "I'm going in. Good night. Get going." And I tell him, "Sweet dreams. I love you," and he'll say, "I love Mama." And it's just a way to bring you closer, to your children or to whoever it is that you're messaging. And I had to say this because next month is November, and I think it's National Caregivers Month. Folks, if you know caregiver, and my heart is for the caregivers because I was one, send a text message. It's not rocket science. Send a message. Hey, I'm thinking of you. How you doing?
Absolutely.
How's so-and-so doing? It brightens someone's day. It's really important to reach out and support each other and love up on each other because, Tammy, as well as I do, especially in Judaism, we are here to love one another and be a light and show the light and the love. How simple is it just to do a text message saying, thinking of you, I love you, or whatever you want to write? That's positive.
Yeah, like, are you okay? Are you okay?
Yeah.
I remember, like, years and years ago, I knew this rabbi's wife. They were Chabad. They were Lubavitch, and she had like 11 kids. And I used to go to her, the synagogue where they were based. I used to go for Torah classes also, and she had a lot of kids, and she used to take the time to call me once a week. She's running around all the time because she's always helping people, like very selfless. And she'd call me once a week and just ask me how I am. And initially I was like, I gotta take the phone. I don't want to talk on the phone. It's night. I have to get these kids to sleep. I don't want. But you know what? I would get on the phone, because I want to be respectful, and we talk, and I was like, oh my God, like I had such warmth that somebody cares enough, who's super busy, way more busy in a lot of ways than I am, that's taking the time to reach out to me to see if I'm okay, see how I'm doing. That is tremendous. And I said, wow, this is something we need to, I remember there's a lot of things in your life, but certain things stand out. And I remember like thinking, wow, this is something really good. Like, I hope that my kids not just do it with their kids, but they do it with the friends who they know need some support. They realize it. They think of other people, and they say, I appreciate you. The other day, for example, and that's one of the most important things is like, it's not just like love. It's, I tell them how I'm blessed. I appreciate my life. I appreciate I have a roof over my head. I appreciate being their mom, these kind of things, gratitude, So it was funny because the other day I just looked at my husband, and usually we're just talking like something with the restaurant, something with this. It's like do this, do that, do this, that kind of thing. And I just looked at him and I said, I appreciate you. And he was like, he just stared at me. Like he just looked at me like a deer in the headlights. And then he was like, is that a Devar Torah you're giving me or something? And I laughed. Devar Torah is like a lesson, a Torah lesson. And it's like a wise word. And I said, well, yeah, I guess it is. So he said, he goes, I appreciate you too. And you know what? And it wasn't easy for me to say I appreciate you. I had to work on it, but I was like, I appreciate you. And then I said yes, and you know what? I had such a good feeling, like saying that to him. I felt such an energy lift. And when he looked at me, he stopped for a minute, because usually he's like going where he's going. He's like, I appreciate you too. And we just kind of like had a moment. And then he said bye, and I said bye, and he left in a really great mood. And I said, that was 3 friggin' words that made a difference in everything. And that's what I'm trying to get across. You don't have to write them a novel, and you don't have to spend a fortune learning how to say stuff. You just have to say a couple of words, and that are heartfelt. And I get a lot of, especially there's dads who, especially people who are going through divorce, where they don't see their kids. They don't live at home anymore. There might be not a good situation going on in the divorce between the parents. And you have one parent that might be alienating the kids. And like, what do I do? What do I do? And it's like, you just keep telling them, even if they don't answer you, it doesn't matter. You should have no expectation. Just let them know you're there, you care, you love them. That's it.
Absolutely.
Just be consistent, because that's what makes all the difference. It doesn't matter what their responses are. Even if they tell you, don't text me, I can't stand you. It's not about that. It's about you doing that for somebody else. You taking the step and saying, it's okay, I love you, and I have to let you know. I have to let you know that you're the best. I have to let you know that, this is what I did today, and I was thinking of you. I can't express enough how this is missing. People are so busy. They're running. They're all over the place. They're multitasking we're not designed to do that. We're not computers, yet people are multitasking all day long. People are working harder because of this lousy economy, and everybody just feels overwhelmed and out of sorts. So they don't get a chance to do things. They don't get a chance to talk to their kids, and they don't get a chance to do anything, and they're dealing with a lot. But I'm telling you, if you have a phone, the beauty of it is you don't have to do anything else except send a text. It should be something that you can do. And then it just takes time to build a habit. That's all. You have to make it a habit. So my habit is Monday through Friday. My kids know on the weekend, I'm not sending a message, but I'm in touch with them in other ways on the weekend, of course. And they usually come for dinner Friday night, so that's why Friday night I see them in person, and we'll go out to dinner another night of the week. But I'm very consistent Monday through Friday. And I feel if I don't get that message out and it's getting late, I feel an energy drain personally on myself, So there is something to it.
There definitely is, and I'll tell you, Tammy, the older that I come, you realize how life is very precious, very short, and we need to tell people we love them. We need to tell people we're grateful for them and that we appreciate them, because you never know when the last time will be when you speak to someone. I don't mean to be morbid, folks. I'm just being realistic.
Yeah.
We really need to show our appreciation for each other, whether your spouses, partners, parents, or whatever the relationship is with that person. Say, you know what, I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you. Because what are you waiting for? Till their funeral when they can't hear you? Say it now when they're alive. You know, say
it's like it's never too late to say I love you, for sure.
I'm a Jersey girl. You know, just say it like it is.
Absolutely, I agree. Absolutely. You know, there's no excuse like to not at least do this for like. And it doesn't have. You don't have to have a kid to do this. You could do this with anybody you care about. You could do it with your spouse. You could do it with a really good friend. You could do it with anybody you want. The point of the matter is that if we take the time to care about other people and you know, to give to other people, to care. Like, you know, when you're walking down the street, New York's New York. But I can tell you something. When I spend a moment and give somebody a smile, or say, you know, have a good day or something, or let you know, people it's like they're like sucking up water like a plant that hasn't had a rain in a long time. You know, you see it. You see the difference, the effect it has. So now when you're doing it with people who are close to you, I mean, you're really having an impact on like probably their not just their energy, their actual molecular structure of their body, because I believe, you know, and I follow like Joe Dispenza and a lot of these guys with epigenetics and way you think and positive thinking, and how the stress stuff and the violence and the hatred stuff, I mean, it actually is killing us. You know, it's killing us. So if you can actually improve somebody's life by shifting them into positivity and good energy and good thoughts and feeling love, then you're physically and emotionally making somebody's life better. And I'm just a firm believer of that. You know?
Me too.
What's holding you back? You know, what's holding you back from doing it? Time? No. Text. You can send a text for whatever reason. You could send one of love to your kids or whoever you want to.
That's right. It doesn't take long at all, and you can send a text while you're even watching, you know, TV, listening to the radio, eating breakfast, or, you know, whatever. It doesn't take long, and it would mean so much to someone. I know that personally, I know that when I would receive messages, that it meant so much to me, that people would take time out of their day to think of me and send me a message, and it really does brighten someone's day. Tam, I have to ask you, how did you get your book up on that screen? Is it Times Square? Or is it the Wall Street? I'm not familiar with New York.
It was up on two different electronic screens at different times. So the first one, I was a Book Fest award winner, so that was the award winners where they gave us an opportunity to have our cover up on the NASDAQ. So of course, a lot of us authors who won, who were awarded, jumped at the opportunity, and authors came in from across the country. It was a lot of fun. But you know, that whole thing was it was groups of covers. So there were 8 different groups, 6 covers a group. So, you know, I didn't know exactly when it was coming up, and you know, we kind of just sat there and waited, and it was like a couple of rotations, and that was it. A very dear friend of mine was with me at Times Square because, you know, I was like a celebratory time, of course, and she's speaking to her husband, and she was like, you know, with Tammy at Times Square, and covers up, and he's like, okay, let's get it up we have a screen on our building, let's get it up. And I was just like, oh my God, that's amazing. And he put me in touch with with the media company that manages the screen on the building, and I sent in. Now this time I had the cover designer who did the original, you know, this edition, the Text Message to My Sons, Connecting Deeply in the World of Devices edition. I had her add award-winning author and put the badges on, and they put it up it was up on 54th and Broadway, which is a major, and it's a way bigger screen, and it was the only, thing that came on after David Beckham's Rolex ad, and it was up there for well over a month, and you could see it for miles, and it was insane, and I can't even, I don't have the words for that kind of amazing thank you because that's a very expensive proposition, and they just did it for me because they love me and they're my friend and they love the book. So that, it's amazing how one thing kind of leads into another. But like first you have to enter the competition, then you have to place, you have to award, then something comes and then another opportunity comes. It's all kind of a chain. But I was very lucky that that'll happen. And, eventually one thing always leads into another, whether it comes to an interview or this opportunity or that. And that's just all you can do is put the work in and believe in God and, do your best. Just do your best and be positive. And things start happening. It takes time. Everything takes time. Nothing's an overnight success. I mean, it was one of the things, Betsy, that really kind of was one of the best things was what a friend of mine, he said, you know what, this is during the pandemic, he said, you really want to watch something interesting. It's really telling. It's really cool. Watch some of the celebrity commencement addresses that were done at universities like Denzel Washington's, J.K. Rowling, Will Ferrell. Send me some links. Check these out, okay? Because check out what they're talking about. What's his name? Tyrion from Game of Thrones had a great one. There was several different ones I watched. And all of these celebrities who have been wildly successful, it didn't happen overnight. It took years and years of dedication and hard work. And the one thing they said is you have to be okay with failing. You have to understand that it's normal, that you learn from it. It's not a bad thing. We failed.
Right.
I lived in a basement. I was, I had to deliver pizzas. I had no money. Everybody told me I was crazy. You hear this over and over again, and then the rejections and the this and the that. I mean, and you're just like, wow. They had faith. They had faith, and they said, okay, whenever it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Jim Carrey would write himself a check, for $10 million and put it up. He was eating ramen noodles. But it's just really interesting to me that people don't realize, because we live in an instant gratification culture, which is why with the messages and building habits, you have to nothing is quick, even this process.
It's true.
Nothing's quick. You have to keep at it and you have to keep doing it. If you want to make something happen, you have to just go at it. And I know there's all these gurus out there that are like, work less, have more, work all that. I'm not saying you need to work like a dog 24/7. You need to be smart. You need to be strategic, but you need to also understand that everything's a path and everything takes time. And the more you learn, the better, you can the more you can up level, the better you can produce something else. Everything is there for you to learn, and there's nothing wrong with it. And failure is not a bad thing. That's what I learned.
No.
And that's how this book came about, basically. Yeah. And the next edition is going to come about based on this, because I learned a lot.
Yes, it's life is a learning process. I was just telling Josh this about Denzel Washington, because I love to watch Denzel's inspirational talks, and he is something like, you're going to fail, and that's okay. You learn from failing. And Les Brown, another inspirational person, he says you're going to fall. Fall backwards, look up. To me, Tammy, failing is not even trying. That's where failure to me is. It's because all your successful entrepreneurs, of course they failed, and they learned from their failure. So they didn't really consider it a failure. Maybe they did at that time, but not later on. They learned from it and went on. I'm sure, look, Thomas Edison, how long did it take him to develop the light bulb? 99 times. people getting constantly
Exactly.
rejected. You know, Walt Disney, I did an interview with a couple who wrote about Walt Disney. He was rejected for not being creative enough. I mean, can you imagine?
I have the best one for you. I have the best one. J.K. Rowling was like
yes,
rejected from every constant. And you know why she's J.K.? Because the one like publisher or whoever would finally work with her said, let's use J.K. because boys aren't going to want to read your book if they know it's like if it's women writing about this, and like girls are not going to be interested in this book, and then the boys might get turned off that it's written by a woman, like about like witchcraft and wizardry and stuff. So she was just like, she became J.K. because she's that's not her name, J.K. It's her initials. And the funniest thing is she went under a pseudonym after all the success of Harry Potter, and she actually submitted a completely different type of storyline. I think it was like a mystery or an investigative mystery or something like that, and it was rejected. And they told her she needed to take writing classes. That was her recommendation. After her success. She put it under a different name.
That's that's incredible. So don't let people discouraging you, get to you. Just keep on with your dream and your vision. Tam, I talk to you for hours. I just love talking to you. And I'm so happy for your success and your awards. And I know they're going to keep on coming. And I want to ask you, how can people connect with you, Tammy?
Oh, the best way to connect with me is there's two ways. So on social media, I'm under text messages to my sons. It's on Facebook and on Instagram, text messages to my sons. And that's going to stay the same even with the expanded edition. I also have Tammy J. Cohen on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, Tammy Cohen on LinkedIn. I have a website, www.t as in Tom, C as in cat, TC Brands, BRAND Consulting.com. And those are the best ways. The book is on Amazon. Text messages to my sons, connecting deeply in a world of devices. And my full name is on the book, Tammy J, as in Jack Cohen, Cohey, Cohen. So you can definitely, go on Amazon and take a look, buy a copy. And the expanded edition is going to be out in around April 2025.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. I know it's going to do well. And folks, like I said, holidays is upon us already. I don't know where this year went, but it flew. Buy the book as a gift to yourself and a gift for someone. I know they would appreciate it. Let's work together to make this place a better world. And Tam, I just love your vision.
Amen.
I love your passion. I really love your passion, and I love having guests on like you who I could just hear their passion, and I love it. And those are the people, I believe, and I've seen it, that do very well. You have to have a passion and a love for what you do and what you're writing, and you have that, Tammy. And I just, you're welcome. I just love talking to you. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it because I know you're busy, and you also have a lot of great guests and new guests and people that I'm sure you want to chat with. So I appreciate this, and it's always a pleasure talking to you. And yes, I could spend days and hours on talking to you. Now you're in New Jersey. You have to get into New York so you can come be my guest at my restaurant.
I was looking at the pictures. I don't know New York City at all. I have no sense of direction. But I don't know the Lower East Side.
No, come with Josh. He must know how to come into the city, and you'll come.
No, thank you. No, he doesn't know either. I haven't been in the city in many, many, many years. My mom was from the Bronx. She knew the city. She knew her way around. But I certainly don't. But thank you, folks. I can't help it when I repeat myself, because when I firmly believe in someone and what they're doing, I am fanatic. I am. That's just my personality. And I have marvelous guests on, like Tammy J. Cohen. So please subscribe to Chatting with Betsy. It's for free on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeart, Amazon Music. And all the information about Tammy J. Cohen will be in the blog that Jeannie White, the station manager, writes. So thank Jeannie for what she does in producing the show. And I want to thank Lillian Caldwell, who's CEO of Passion World Talk Radio Network, who makes this all possible. And thank you for listening and subscribing. Please share this podcast to help other people. That's what I'm here for, to be a resource, to provide you with guests who can help you have a better life, and Tammy J. Cohen is one of them with her book. Let's spread the love, folks. Let's show love to each other. This is really a time where we need it. We need to bring our humanity back. There's a lot of people struggling with, hurricanes, being homeless, whatever the situation is, people need love. And maybe that's my hippie coming out of me, raised in the 60s and 70s. But as I always say at the end of my show, in a world where you can be anything, to please be kind and shine your light bright, because we need it now more than ever. And if you want to follow me, I am Betsy E. Wurzel, Wurzel, on Facebook. And I have a support group, #Kick Alzheimer's Ass Movement, on Facebook. This is Betsy Wurzel, your host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio Network, a subsidiary of Global Media Network, LLC. Till we chat again, be safe, everyone. Bye-bye now.